Good afternoon. My name is Deidre Stevenson, and this is another episode of Desert Magnolia. I'd like to welcome you to the program, and today's episode is going to be another one of those unscripted episodes, so please pardon me if I stumble a little bit here and there. Today, I'm going to talk about something that people who read voraciously would probably be interested in. Have you ever wondered what's on your favorite author's bookshelf? What does your author read? So, for those of you who might actually enjoy my books, the Hakima's Tale trilogy, Desert Magnolia, the Skinwalker Resurrection, or the Tales of the Lantern, this is what I have read, and this is what really interests me. So I've got a stack here on my desk. I'm looking at it right now. And I don't know, the list may or may not surprise you considering the nature of what I write about. But the first one I see right here on my desk is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. And the more I think about book jackets and the descriptions, of books on, the back flap of the jacket, the more I wonder, how much this actually makes a difference, and how much the book sells. Let's hear what the Hobbit has to say on its back jacket here. The Lord of the Rings is now an epic motion picture trilogy from New Line Cinema. Okay, I'm sure that grabs your attention right there, the fact that it's been a movie. But let's say there are people out there who just want to get the book because, they might not have seen the movie. I don't know where they'd be from, somebody who hasn't actually seen the Hobbit movie, but let's just pretend, that this was a world like the world I grew up in that didn't have a movie called The Hobbit. And the back of the jacket says, Bilbo Baggins was a hobbit who wanted to be left alone in quiet comfort. But the wizard Gandalf came along with a band of homeless dwarves. Soon Bilbo was drawn into their quest, facing evil ones, savage wolves, giant spiders, and worse, unknown dangers. Finally, it was Bilbo, alone and unaided, who had to confront the great dragon Smaug, the terror of an entire countryside. Well. It's a pretty good description, and, it really does tell you what's happening in there, and the cover is, a lovely picture. The wizard is walking to, the village of the hobbits, and he's got his little hat on, and it's a beautiful, meadow, a beautiful countryside there. But, it makes you wonder now how books written before might actually sell in today's world, being so competitive. Right. Another book that's most definitely on my bookshelf is Tales from the Arabian Nights, translated by Sir Richard Francis Burton. And, of course, this story follows the story of the great Persian king and his wife Scheherazade, who avoided being executed every single day by telling the king a brand new story each night. And the stories were so tantalizing and so amazing that he literally had to keep her alive every single day so that he could find out what happened in the next part of the story. And she would finish that story and begin a story within the next story. And it's just brilliantly woven together in such a way that you just cannot stop listening to it. Now, recently I decided to try this book as an audiobook, and I must say that it is intriguing, actually, as an audiobook. And I had forgotten how, shall we say, adult the Arabian Nights is. but try it and let's see what you think about it. But it's probably not a great idea for anyone younger than 16 years old. Just FYI. And in the Arabian Nights, of course, you'll find tales like Sinbad the Sailor, Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp, The Tale of the Enchanted Horse, Prince Ahmed and the Fairy, The Tale of the Fisherman and the Genie. And, of course, those kinds of stories have always completely fascinated me. And they were somewhat responsible for motivating me to write The Hakima's Tale, my own trilogy. Okay, let's carry on with what's on my shelf. Okay, let's move on to Stephen King, another fantastic influence of mine. I think Stephen King is an absolutely brilliant writer. And what I love about his writing, and I think I might share this in common with him, is using common language. Stephen King is not difficult to read. Anybody can read a Stephen King novel. You don't have to have a fancy education to understand him. Okay? And I like the fact that he puts forth his works in ways like this because he appeals to everyone in every walk of life, which is probably one reason his books are so incredibly popular. Now, this book I'm looking at right now is actually quite brilliant, and I haven't gotten around to it yet, which is awful. And doing the show is making me remember that I do need to pick up some of my own choices of books now and then. Okay, Stephen King, Dr. Sleep. Now, for those of you who don't know what Dr. Sleep is about, let's listen to the description on the back flap here. The Overlook Hotel was where his boyhood gift for shining opened a door to hell. Dan Torrance is a man now, but ghosts of the Overlook and his father's legacy of alcoholism and violence kept him drifting for decades. Now sustained by an AA community in a New Hampshire town, Dan comforts the dying at a nursing home where they call him Dr. Sleep. But before his remnant power can fade forever, Dan meets 12-year-old Abra Stone, whose spectacular gift pulls him into an epic war with an otherworldly tribe that reunites Dan's own demons and summons him to battle for the young girl's soul and survival. Stephen King's peerless imagination graces every page of this long-awaited sequel to The Shining. Yes, I said it. It's the sequel to The Shining. If you have not tried this, I recommend that you pick it up. I can't say that I've read it all, though. Sadly, I've only read, a couple of chapters, but it's fantastic. It's just my stupid busy schedule that keeps me from carrying on, but I will. No worries there. Okay, what else is on Deidre Stevenson's bookshelf? Paul Coelho, Breda. Okay. And I must admit that I was drawn to this because the character is Irish, and this is another one that I'm only partially through. I haven't finished, but it's quite good. Paul Coelho is a wonderful writer. So let's have a look at what this is about. But how will I know who my soulmate is? By taking risks, she said to Breda. By risking failure, disappointment, disillusion, but never ceasing in your search for love. As long as you keep looking, you will triumph in the end. This is the story of Breda, a beautiful young Irish girl, and her quest for knowledge. On her journey, she meets a wise man who teaches her about overcoming her fears, and a woman who teaches her how to dance to the hidden music of the world. They see in her a gift, but most let her make her own voyage of discovery. As Breda seeks her destiny, she struggles to find a balance between her relationships and her desire to transform herself. Okay, what I like about Paul Coelho's stories is there's also an element of the supernatural somehow. He's not as brash about it as Stephen King or Tolkien or some of the other authors that I admire, But I do think that it's kind of nice that Paul Coelho does bring a little magic into his tales. Okay, one of the best books ever. Here's my next item, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Now, my own book, Desert Magnolia, has been compared to this. And I must say that really makes me very proud because this is a masterpiece. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee won a Pulitzer Prize. And, looking at it, the jacket again, it's a simple book jacket. It's simple, and the description on the rear of the jacket is quite easy and simple. It goes like this: the unforgettable novel of a childhood in a sleepy southern town and the crisis of conscience that rocked it. To Kill a Mockingbird became both an instant bestseller and a critical success when it was first published in 1960. It went on to win the Pulitzer Prize in 1961 and was later made into an Academy Award-winning film, also a classic. Okay, with modern productions of books like this, let me just stop right there. It really is very clever to put straight up your credentials. I mean, what awards you've won, if your book has been turned into a movie, and so on and so forth. I mean, that's probably going to grab readers, to pull it off the shelves right there. But let's go on to what it says next. Compassionate, dramatic, and deeply moving, To Kill a Mockingbird takes readers into the roots of human behavior, to innocence and experience, kindness and cruelty, love and hatred, humor and pathos. Now, with over 18 million copies in print and translated into 10 languages, this regional story by a young Alabama woman claims universal appeal. Harper Lee always considered her book to be a simple love story. Today, it's regarded as a masterpiece of American literature. Wow, go figure. Wonder if Harper Lee had any idea when she wrote that, what that book would become. It's absolutely brilliant. Okay, the next choice of book might not surprise any of you, especially those of you who know me. But the next of my favorites that are right here on the top of Deidre's bookshelf is, this would be George R.R. Martin's book, A Dance with Dragons. Yes, I do actually read the books of Game of Thrones. And, for anybody who's enjoying a great series or a television, a movie based on a great series of novels, do read the novels as well as, as enjoying the series, because you might be surprised. The novels are going to take you in directions that are going to be left out of the film or the TV series. So, I have to say, as much as I absolutely love the series, I'm a huge fan of Game of Thrones, and I'm anxiously awaiting the last season. I do recommend that you console yourself by actually reading the novels. Don't let that pass you by, the chance. I know they're huge. I mean, they're ginormous books. I'm holding one right now, and it literally takes up the entire palm of my hand to hold it. How many pages do we have here? Oh my God. We have 1,175 pages. Yep, you heard that right. Over 1,000 pages. But it's amazing. And if you can't tolerate sitting and reading the book as an actual sit-down read, I highly recommend the audiobook. I ordered actually almost all of these by audiobook, and because I used to have quite a long commute to work back and forth, and it kept me entertained day after day after day, and I got through almost all the books through audiobook performance, and it was wonderful. And George R.R. Martin is a beautiful writer. He's just a beautiful writer. You really feel that you're in the scene. I mean, you see the sky that he's talking about. You see the landscape. You see the colors. You smell the surroundings. You taste the food. You feel the punches, when fights are going on. You literally, you can put yourself into their position, the position of the protagonist. Okay, let's read the back here of Song of Ice and Fire. In the aftermath of a colossal battle, new threats are emerging from every direction. Tyrion Lannister, having killed his father and wrongfully accused of killing his nephew, King Joffrey, has escaped from King's Landing with a price on his head. To the north lies the Great Wall of Ice and Stone, a structure only as strong as those guarding it. Eddard Stark's bastard son, Jon Snow, has been elected the 998th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. But Jon has enemies both inside and beyond the wall, and in the east, Daenerys Targaryen struggles to hold a city built on dreams and dust. Wow. Okay, it's not much, in terms of a description, but if you're into the series, that's all you need to read. You're ready to buy it at that point, and you're ready to really enjoy it. Now, the last item on my shelf, other than my own books. Now, this is a little embarrassing to admit, but yes, I do occasionally enjoy a book that just inspires you. It's not a fiction novel. It doesn't take you into a story, but I do rather enjoy What I Know for Sure by Oprah Winfrey. Yes, I'm sorry. But I do like it, and it is actually quite inspiring. And the only thing on the back cover here is, I know for sure your journey begins with a choice to get up, step out, and live fully. Oprah Winfrey. And you know what? Say what you want. She really is the queen of positive thinking, is she not? I mean, from what I understand, the lady has overcome a great deal in her life, and she's gone on to become one of the richest, most successful women in the entire world, let alone the most influential. So I highly recommend that book. You'll find it uplifting, and it's just pleasant. And if you order the audio version of it, it's actually Oprah herself reading it. So you're going to find that very pleasant to listen to. Oh, by the way, The Hakima's Tale, my 3 books of The Hakima's Tale are all available as audiobooks on audible.com. And we are soon going to be releasing them on other platforms as well, the audiobooks. So, keep watching what we're doing on www.blueginnymedia.com. And let me just tell you, our website has a makeover now. It looks amazing, just absolutely fantastic. It looks like a fantastic online magazine of sorts. So go have a little flip through that, read about what we have to offer, and just enjoy the articles on the blogs, and let us know what you'd like to see us write blog articles about, because we'd like to, give you a little bit more of what you want. And of course, pick up some of the books that we have available for sale as well. My latest one is the Skinwalker Resurrection, and I'll just read the back flap of that one. In Deidre L. Stevenson's first horror thriller, a young woman unleashes a terror in the form of a dark entity upon her life. Unlike Stevenson's work in fantasy fiction and courtroom drama, the Skinwalker Resurrection promises psychological thrills like no other. A dark spirit, a possession, a hidden identity, a love story, the mighty tribe of the Navajo, and a finale that will surprise you. Shortly after the discovery of a mysterious book of witchcraft spells in her home, Carmela unknowingly invites something sinister into her world. A long-deceased Navajo skinwalker, and the skinwalker wants to walk the earth in human flesh again. The witch's faithful servants follow each step that Carmela takes as he serves his mistress. Slowly but surely, she falls prey to the darkness, and only the tribe is left to help her. With the support of her friends and the man that she loves, She is taken to the reservation, and a traditional ceremony ensues. Carmela becomes the mortal captive of Hasia, the Skinwalker witch, and the tribe must ask for the help of an ancient force from the stars. So, I hope that description gets you interested in reading it. I warn you that book is full-on horror, though. It's full-on Stephen King, gore and so on and so forth. So it's not for young children. In fact, everything that I have talked about in this episode would not be suitable for children unless it's the Oprah Winfrey book or possibly The Hobbit would probably be considered fine. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed this little rundown of what's on my bookshelf. What's on your bookshelf? What kind of stories intrigue you? What do you want to read? And do you read? If you don't read, what is the problem? I'm very interested in learning about why people consider it, difficult to get back into reading again. We need to get the world, back into books. What would be a recommendation that you have? Let's get a conversation started about that, because we've got a great deal of imagination just in this little pile that I've put together for you. So let me know what you think of that, and I will be back again, most likely in a week's time, with another episode of Desert Magnolia. And I'll leave you with this awesome music. Don't you love it? It's called Persian Queen. Enjoy. And y'all come back now. You hear?